You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast, I'm going to discuss movies and TV shows that accurately portray therapy. And hang around because I'm also going to be giving away a free hypnosis guide. Stay tuned.
Great heavens! What kind of radio show is this?
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, people? It's David Wright here, the Motor City Hypnotist, back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast.
Yay.
Coming to you again from the podcast Detroit Northville studios.
You know, you're becoming a regular.
I am.
I'm enjoying this. I really am.
And you know, and the thing I listen to a lot of other podcasts on the network, Matt, and the when they call it the Detroit podcast, and they're not saying it correctly. It drives me nuts.
Well, thanks for getting
Detroit.
it right. Podcast Detroit. Yes, Northville.
Podcast Detroit. This is the Northville location.
I appreciate you for that.
Anyway, Matt Fox is with me as usual.
Thank you.
Hanging out in the booth, and I don't know what you're doing in there, but
I'm clicking buttons and I'm making you look pretty on the camera. It's really tough.
Yes, I need that.
What the fuck are you doing?
So you can find me, the Motor City Hypnotist, at my website, motorcityhypnotist.com. And all of the podcast episodes are posted there. So if you want to go back and listen to a prior one, it's all there. And also the show notes, if you're looking for specific links and information, that is all there. And you can also visit my store on my website where you'll find all kinds of cool things such as MP3 recordings, hypnosis MP3 recordings, ebooks, marketing materials. We got a bunch of crap there. So yeah, take a look at that.
Yes.
You can find me on social media on Facebook, Motor City Hypnotist, YouTube, Motor City Hypnotist, on Twitter at Motor City Hypno, and also on Instagram, Motor City Hypno. And if you would like to contribute financially to the show, I would appreciate that. And for those of you who become patrons on Patreon, you can get cool stuff like this. This coffee mug is one of the things that you'll get. I'm showing it to every camera, like I'm on the news station, like which camera's live. T-shirts. You also get early access to the podcast show and also early access to the video of the show. So yeah, if you'd like to contribute, I would appreciate that. That would be fantastic. And as usual, on every episode, I'm giving away a free hypnosis guide. Again, a PDF I wrote that explains the ins and outs of hypnosis. Goes all the way back to episodes 1 and 2, where I explain what hypnosis is, and also covers some myths and misconceptions as well. And
one of the things, David, I really enjoy about your shows is they're 30 minutes a piece. And that is plenty of time for folks not to, an hour is great, but 30 minutes really, it helps folks to really manage their time properly.
Yeah, well, and I always kind of consider people, I know a lot of people listen to podcasts in their vehicles. Mm-hmm. And most people, I would dare to say, probably have on average a 30-minute commute wherever they're going.
Yeah.
And especially right now a lot of people are not driving to work, they're working from home, but I just find 30 minutes to be a lot easier to fit in.
Sure.
I appreciate schedules and, we're doing a lot of shows, which is good, but you can just sit down for 30 minutes, take a break, listen to the show and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's perfect. This episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast is brought to you by Banner Season. Online marketing is saturated and people rarely open their emails. Are you in sales or does your business market to customers? How do you connect with family, friends, and clients? Banner Season takes your marketing into the real world by delivering kindness and thoughtfulness directly to your clients physically. Imagine the excitement of your family, friends, and customers as they receive personalized cards and gifts in their mailboxes. Go to bannerseason.com/fantastic and begin today to express kindness and make connections with others. And just a quick disclaimer that I am an affiliate for that. So if you click through, it doesn't cost you anymore, but I do benefit. So I just want to make that disclaimer up front.
So honest. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I like to say that because sometimes people try to sneak in links or affiliate links and you have no idea. And it just, for me, I don't like when people don't tell me what they're, I just like to be upfront with it.
Appreciate that.
Cool. You know what it's time for, Matt?
Oh, gosh. I think, we do this every week. And
yes.
The first one was amazing. I can't wait to see what happens now.
That's how winning is done.
That's the way to start the weekend.
Winner of the week. Coincidentally, it's so funny because I put this together, weeks ago when I was prepping for this podcast and wanted to use that soundbite. I just happened to be flipping through the channels the other night at midnight, and guess what was on?
Oh, no.
Rocky Balboa was on, and I ended up watching the rest of the whole thing.
Of course.
Yeah, it was up to almost 2 a.m. because I had to finish it.
The first one, right?
No, it was the last one.
Oh, the last one.
Yeah, the very last one.
That is the last one, yeah.
Where the old man,
God.
Sylvester Stallone is like a 60-something-year-old, takes on,
Okay.
I mean, not that any of those movies are realistic, but they're fun to watch.
Rocky 5.
Oh, worse.
1,000.
Oh, no, 5 was the worst of the whole series.
Little Spaceballs reference for you.
Yeah, oh, I know. Yeah. And I just saw that. the other day, too.
I think it's on Netflix right now.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think that's where I popped into there on Netflix.
Man.
So back to our winner of the week.
Please.
Now, this is how do I say it? This is kind of a tragic story, but as I get through this, you'll kind of know why this is the winner of the week. Bridger Walker, and I don't know if you heard about this story.
I have not.
Okay. Bridger Walker is a 6-year-old boy who risked his own life to save his 4-year-old sister.
I didn't know his name. I've read the story. I read the story. I just didn't pay attention to the name. I didn't recognize the name until you just described it. So, yes.
So Bridger Walker from Wyoming stepped in front of his little sister as a charging dog approached, taking several bites to the face and head, which resulted in 90 stitches. And if you saw the pictures, it's really sad online. Asked by his family why he jumped between his sister and the dog, the family quoted him as stating, "If someone had to die, I thought it should be me." I mean, this is a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah.
That's just now there's that in and of itself makes this kid a winner.
Yes.
Absolutely. There were some additional events that occurred after that. Mm-hmm. After news of his bravery reached the media, many famous heroes reached out to Bridger. Mm-hmm. So far, Anne Hathaway, Chris Evans, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Holland, Hugh Jackman, Zachary Levi, and the Russo brothers have all reached out.
That's amazing.
Chris Evans, who plays Captain America, and Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor in the films, provided video messages to Bridger, who was a huge Avengers fan. Mm-hmm. So all the way around, other than the tragic incident, just a lot of good in positive things coming out of something that was really tragic. Mm-hmm. Bridger, for one, being a hero and stepping in front of his sister, the stars who reached out and gave him video messages directly to him. Mm-hmm. I mean, imagine how excited that made him.
I watched the video of Chris Evans, and it was a side-by-side video of Chris Evans reading the talking to Bridger,
right,
and Bridger's reaction to it, and Bridger's wearing a full Captain America.
Yes, I did see that.
The things that Chris Evans said to him, it's just heroes don't have to wear capes, and
absolutely.
Bridger absolutely proved that to everybody in the world.
And Bridger, what a great kid! You are our winner of the week.
That's how winning is done.
So we are going to discuss today on this episode movies and TV shows that accurately portray therapy. There are so many out there. When I started doing research for this, I thought there can't be that many because I'm just trying to think in my mind back on movies I saw that had therapy scenes in them. Now, I know there's a lot of different ones after doing research that don't portray it accurately. It's kind of like if you've seen any movie that portrays a courtroom, it's rarely accurate to what really happens in a courtroom.
Right.
It's dramatized.
Right.
But there are some movies that really portrayed therapy, I'll say for the most part accurately. I could pick apart every one of them and say, well, that probably wouldn't have happened. But overall. Okay. So we're going to count down from 5 down to 1 because we want to make it a countdown. Because 1 is my absolute favorite. So we're going to go from 5 to 1.
When you told me we were doing this today, I went back to last week and I remembered how excited I was for this episode.
Yes.
So I can't wait to see what your number
one is.
Well,
I'm wondering if any of the ones you thought of will be in here.
Yeah, me too. So what's number 5?
Number 5 is Antoine Fisher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know the movie?
I've heard. I know the movie.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Of course, in general, I'll give you a synopsis for those listeners out there. The film focuses on Antoine Fisher, a temperamental young man with a violent history who's serving in the U.S. Navy. Mm-hmm. His father was killed before he was born, and his teenage mother ended up arrested soon after and put in jail. He was in an long story short, he was in an orphanage. He suffered years of physical and emotional abuse by his foster family or parents. He was molested by an adult daughter. So he finally left home at age 14, joined the Navy. Again, this is based on a true story, but of course, I'm sure there's some liberties with the movie itself. But Denzel Washington plays the doctor.
He directed that too.
He did. He did direct that. And the thing that's realistic about this, it's not nicely wrapped up and easy. And the thing that I like, and I highlighted this because when Antoine first goes to see Dr. Jerome Davenport, who's the psychiatrist, he's extremely resistant because he's ordered to go. And I know I see a lot of clients and have over the years that are ordered for some reason or another, court ordered, or because of some kind of legal issues, they have to obtain counseling. So they're typically resistant, let's say that.
Sure.
And that was what was realistic about this situation. He's at first extremely resistant, but gradually comes to trust Davenport and opens up about his traumatic childhood. So for me, that is the whole purpose of a therapist, is to build trust. You're not going to sit down the first session, for other health professionals, mental health professionals out there, you'll know when I say this. The first problem is never the real problem. When somebody sits down in my office for a first session and they start talking and they bring up things, that there's always something deeper that's driving it. And I don't think clients consciously do this, but they're seeing what your response is going to be. They're kind of testing the waters to see if they can trust you with that deep thing.
Any person you meet for the very first time, whether it be in therapy or in public, there are barriers that have to be broke down.
Absolutely. And especially when you're going to be sharing something as well, again, in this example, something as serious as childhood abuse.
Sure.
And again, a lot of embarrassment and feelings of guilt and all of that goes in there. So to trust somebody with that, it takes a trusting relationship. So the thing I do like about that movie is it shows that gradual conversion of him able to trust the doctor and end up being helped by it. So yeah, number 5 is Antoine Fisher.
Good pick.
Yeah. Number 4, and I was kind of torn on this one, and I'll tell you why after I get into it. Number 4 is Prince of Tides.
Wow. Okay.
Don't know if you saw that movie.
It's been a while.
Yep. It's been a while for me too. I revisited some clips for this show. So it's a 1991, and the thing that I don't like about the movie, I almost didn't put it in for this. It's kind of a romantic movie.
Right. That's Barbra Streisand.
Yeah, it's about Streisand and Nick Nolte, and that's the one thing that I would say definitely this therapist, Barbra Streisand as a therapist, became way too personally involved and ended up falling in love with him.
Right.
That's not proper.
That's not PC at all.
Yeah, that should never happen.
Right.
However, the scenes of him talking about his experiences, and again, I don't want to ruin the movie for you.
It's from 1991. If they haven't seen it yet.
Yes, if you haven't seen it yet, spoiler warnings. Don't worry about it.
Stop it.
Yeah. So anyway, he ends up with this revelation at the end of the movie that he was sexually abused. and it just comes out. But again, I look at the process of the therapy during that, where they talked about a lot of things, and take out the romantic thing, because again, that is not professional and should never happen. But the therapy part itself was fairly realistic, how he worked to the end to be able to let that out and to be able to tell the truth eventually.
Cool.
Yeah, Prince of Tides is number 4.
Excellent.
I think I'm almost sure that you're going to love this one.
Go for it, because you're probably right. You know
number
me well.
3 is The Sopranos.
Yeah, I do like that.
Mm-hmm. The whole series opens with Tony Soprano having a panic attack and passing out in his pool, or falling into the pool. The ducks were in the pool. He had this panic attack. And I may have this a little bit out of order, because I haven't seen that. It's been years since I've watched it. I was a great fan of the show, though.
It's been a hot second for me.
But it opened the very first episode with him in therapy with this therapist, played by Lorraine Bracco.
Okay.
Jennifer Melfi was the psychiatrist, the therapist name. And the great thing is throughout the series, it shows these interactions with Tony Soprano and Dr. Melfi. And again, him being, going through what a lot of clients go through, resistance and anger. There's one episode where he just flips out and flips a table and gets right in her face and starts screaming.
It's been a while since I've seen this.
As a therapist, as any therapist should, she sets boundaries. She says, I don't accept that kind of behavior here. You're going to have to leave. And something to the effect of, you can't come back unless I know that won't happen again.
Right. Well, he had a definite work-life balance issue.
Well, he did. He had a lot of things going on in his life that,
I'm very important. So.
And I know the setting. Again, it's a TV show. It's drama. I get that. But again, it's somebody in general. Let's just look at the structure of it. It's somebody suffering from anxiety and panic attacks.
Sure.
And even somebody in a powerful position like that, with a lot of stress and pressure. And again, take away the drama and the made up part. That is something that can be very detrimental and very difficult for somebody to deal with. So a lot of the therapy sessions and how she deals with Tony are pretty spot on.
I'll have to go back and kind of that's one of the things I put on my list to rewatch during this whole pandemic thing, because I'm trying to catch up on shows that I watched before but didn't pay true attention to. Now I'm going back and rewatching.
I was thinking about that myself, because it's been a while since I've watched that. And I'm wondering how it's aged. And I might go back and visit some sessions on that.
How much skinnier are the ties? I'm wondering.
Right. But I mean, the storyline is, of course, it was one of the best shows on TV.
Yeah.
If you've ever looked at any of the lists on either YouTube or online, like the top 20 TV shows of all time,
must-watch TV.
It's definitely in there. Ranked differently with different people, but definitely a good one.
Excellent. Thank you.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, Tony would escalate quickly.
Yeah. Well, don't stop. Never mind.
Don't stop a what?
Don't stop. Never mind.
So let's move on to number 2.
Number 2 already. Man.
Number 2 already.
I'm curious. I'm curious as to what number. I'm really curious what number 1 is, but it's that runner up that folks really want to know. Why not number 1? Because you picked it as number 2.
In this one, it's a little more obscure.
Okay.
So I don't know, and when I get to it,
I ain't listening to you no more.
No, trust me, it's worth seeing. I don't know if you ever saw In Treatment. It was an HBO series. Back in 2008.
No. I'm going to be totally honest. I had never watched In Treatment.
Okay. It was a show, I think it was on for 2 seasons, and it was about a psychotherapist. His name was, on the show, Dr. Paul Weston. Gabriel Byrne played him.
What? Really? I enjoyed Gabriel Byrne.
Yeah. And he had this, and the thing I liked about this, he was very therapist-like. I mean, just his mannerisms and his looks and his interactions. And the layout of the show was kind of cool because each episode was a session with one client. And that would be the episode of the show. And then these clients would periodically come back in different episodes, like as their next session or follow-up session. Right. And then underlying that was him dealing with his own issues with his own therapist.
Okay, so a therapist seeing a therapist. Yeah. There's actually 3 seasons.
Is there 3?
Yeah, I've just looked it up. Yeah, it's 3 seasons, but a therapist seeing a therapist. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like pulling the curtain back almost.
Yes. Well, and I say this, and I say this to every client who comes to see me for the first time. I tell them, listen, everybody's screwed up. Doctors, lawyers, it doesn't matter what your profession is or what you do. Everybody has stuff they can deal with. And sometimes, and I say, okay, therapists, forgive me, but some of us are the most messed up people there are. I mean, there's that old adage that people get into therapy to fix their own issues.
Wow.
I don't necessarily think that's true. I just think therapists are just like any other profession. Mm-hmm. There are some who are really good at what they do, and some that are maybe should be doing something else.
Well, you know what? That's very PC of you. Well,
it is. And because sometimes it's just, I've worked in almost 30 years of doing this. I've worked with a lot of different people and some probably shouldn't be doing what they're doing.
This is a mess.
Yeah, It could be a mess. So back to In Treatment. It was a very fascinating one because there is, again, each episode is a different client dealing with their issues. And it was portrayed fairly well. I the interaction seemed real. It didn't seem like it was a drama made for trite cliche interactions. The writing on this was really well done. And some of the clients that were some of the guest stars were the guy who played Frasier's dad.
Oh, shoot. You would ask me that, wouldn't you?
No, I know. And I can't think of his name.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Unfortunately, he passed away, I think, earlier this year.
Yes, he did.
Or last year, possibly.
Yeah.
Last year. But he was at one of these, it's great because a scene with him, he comes in and he sits down and you can see how focused and how OCD he is because he takes his phone and he puts it just right on the table and he sits just right and he portrays this guy who's runs a business and is very driven and very OCD and he has a panic attack during one of their sessions, which is portrayed really. Panic attacks, and we addressed that actually a couple of podcasts ago.
We did.
So if you want to learn more about that, go back. Anxiety and panic attacks. Yep. It was portrayed fairly well. I know it's different for everyone, but again, that was a really good portrayal of somebody in the midst of a panic attack and how the therapist dealt with it was really good.
Actually, just a few moments ago, just about 4 hours ago, I was just looked up a news story. And just on a whim, HBO is actually unwrapping its strength-themed drama In Treatment. They're actually thinking of rebooting it for season 4.
I would love that, especially if Gabriel Byrne comes back.
And, they're actually trying to bring it to today where they're actually meeting with clients via Zoom.
Oh,
right. So
really?
With the whole pandemic, and what you guys are doing professionally, doing the, you're doing phone treatments, but you can do them Zoom if you want to.
Right. Yeah.
And
you have telehealth treatments.
Telehealth.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
It could be shot remotely. The television show itself could be shot remotely using Zoom. So that's why they're thinking of rebooting.
Interesting.
In Treatment for season 4.
Oh, good for you.
Right?
No, I'll have to look that up. That's exciting to me because I really love this show, and that's why it's my number 2 on my list.
Well done.
Number 1.
All right, here we go.
Number 1 show, movie or TV that portrays therapy accurately. I'll preface this one by saying it is if you want to feel good watching a movie, don't watch this one.
All right.
It's very emotionally just draining.
Ooh.
Ordinary People from 1980.
Yeah. It has been a real hot second since I've seen Ordinary People. Yes.
Donald Sutherland plays the father. Mary Tyler Moore plays the mother. And by the way, this was back in 1980. She'd been known mostly for just doing comedy and, her own show. She plays one of the, how do I say this? one of just, honestly, she just plays the biggest bitch in the world as a mother. So let me set up the story, and then we can talk about why this one is so great.
Please.
So Donald Sutherland's the dad. Mary Tyler Moore is the mother. Timothy Hutton is the son, teenage son.
Wow. 1980.
Yes. And the story is that his brother was killed in a boating accident.
Okay.
And it's the family trying to cope with the loss of this brother.
Ooh, okay.
And the mother is really, like I said, I'll go through the awards that this film was up for in a moment. But Mary Tyler Moore and Donald Sutherland both were fantastic. Timothy Hutton was great, but the mother gets to a point where she even says to Timothy Hutton, "I wish you were the one who died instead of your brother."
Wow.
And then the dad is trying to mediate between the son and the mother, and he's just he's devastated himself.
Wow. Yeah, he's trapped between mom and son, it sounds like then, isn't he?
So Timothy Hutton attempts to commit suicide, and he's hospitalized, and he sees a therapist played by Judd Hirsch.
Okay.
And the therapy scenes between I'm serious. I actually had to watch this movie in one of my graduate classes. Not had to. It was recommended. It was an assignment.
Fair.
Watch this movie, evaluate the therapy scenes, and we'll talk about it.
Got it.
It was really a powerful movie, and like I said, it's I'll just read the description of it. The story concerns the disintegration of an upper middle class family in Lake Forest, Illinois, following the accidental death of one of their two sons and the attempted suicide of the other. Now, it really is a great film. Again, if you want to feel happy and joyful after, it's a serious film, but very well. The acting, if you like good acting and good writing, definitely watch this movie. I highly recommend it.
You want to be entertained, but in a different way.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, I do like serious movies. You know, I like being involved in it, and even though it's like, you know how some movies can be depressing.
Yeah.
It's okay though, because it's a movie, but the therapy scenes in this are fantastic. So the film received 6 Academy Awards. It won for Best Picture. This was actually Robert Redford's directing debut.
Wow,
Yep.
Robert
Redford's directing debut.
Yeah.
Timothy Hutton was up for supporting actor. In addition, Donald Sutherland was up for supporting actor. Redford was up for Best Director. Best screenplay it was up for. Again, a lot. This really is a good movie. If you just want to sit down and see a well-written, well-acted drama, this is a great film. And again, the therapy sequences are just fantastic in that one.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Ordinary People is my number one.
Round of applause. You don't need any special effects for that.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
There you go.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'll throw one in anyway.
All right, fair enough.
So I know we are somewhat close to wrapping up here. Let me talk about our next episode.
Yeah.
I know a few episodes ago we did 6 things that you must know before you see a hypnotherapist. If you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that. It's very valuable information for you. The next episode, we are going to be talking about the things you must know to hire a stage hypnotist, which is a totally different animal than a hypnotherapist. And we'll hit more on a lot of the things overlap, but they're very specific things that you need to look at when you're doing stage hypnosis as opposed to a hypnotherapist.
Got it.
So that's coming up next episode. So again, a free hypnosis guide's available. Look in the show notes for the link for that. It's just a PDF I wrote. You can download that. And the other thing I want to ask you is please subscribe to the show. Wherever you're listening, Apple, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you're getting the show at, please like it and leave a review. I would really appreciate that. And also, find me on social media. And if there's something that you want us to address in a podcast episode coming up, let me know that as well, because I want to give you what you want. And we're doing podcasts every week. So yeah, if there's something you really want us to talk about, let me know and we'll get that on the schedule.
You aim to please, sir.
I do aim to please. And again, subscribe to the podcast, leave a review. As we end, and I'll see you soon. But change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. I'll see you next time.